also do office stuff, or for example, social stuff. Your phone is meant to call. So it would be nice if your desktop computer also defines the context of your peripheral devices. Imagine if your phone can communicate with your PC so that your PC knows that you're spending your time by calling on your phone. That way, your PC will know if it can notify you or not. They're integrated, and it knows what context you are spending your time and effort on. We can also take advantages of technologies of mobile devices like GPS, accelerometer, RFID, etc. What it means is, if our mobile devices are integrated with our desktop computers, our computers would know if we are away from the keyboard. If we stand up and the accelerometer detects the movement, it will tell your computer that you're away from your keyboard, so that your contacts on your IM applications will know that you won't get the message if they IM you on your computer. Or we can also take advantage of RFIDs, etc., but that's going to be for the future. We're going to have to explore our resources. And what's more interesting is the potential of integrating with non-electronic devices. Imagine if your desktop computer can integrate with the stuff that you interact with that are non-electronic. So for example, I'm talking now, and my computer has a way of knowing that I'm far from it and that I'm holding a mic. So it will be intelligent enough to give me what I need. And that could be done with the help of my mobile device that I have in my pocket. It told me that I'm far enough from my computer so that it knows that I can touch it at this moment. So ideas to make context centrism happen in GNOME. First of all, we have to make GNOME more scalable so that it's going to be more cross-platform. With greater availability in many kinds of platforms of mobile devices, we can make our computing experience more tightly integrated across different devices. The second is the utilization of the multiple workspaces. Right now, free desktops have the ability of having multiple workspaces. And on GNOME Shell, you can add or remove one anytime, as long as the minimum is you have one workspaces. And we can advantage of that by defining the context on each workspace. For example, you created one workspace and you label it Office. That way, you will remember that your OpenOffice.org document or your other apps are in that specific workspace. That way, you won't have to put it in your mind because it's easily recognizable. You won't have to remember. It's based on your instinct, and it doesn't take your memory. And we also have application categories as of the moment, so we can also maximize the use of this. By using the application categories, we can tell if a certain application is for the web, for the office, if it's a game, or whatever. We can utilize those technologies to define what context we are on. And we can also tag applications, windows, and other elements on the desktop if it's not intelligent enough to tell automatically. What are the challenges? First of all, we need to define web apps. Some people are very web apps dependent. For example, I have so many Firefox windows. If I want the context to be defined, I want my Firefox window to know that that one of its tabs or one of its windows is for Office because it's a Google Docs window or it's a Google Calendar window. And we also want our for example, Facebook tab or video to be tagged as social window. Right now, it's challenging because all of them are tagged as internet windows because they're all parts of the web browser. And if we're going to introduce new things, this is going to be big. It's to be fit with the user's established habits and expectations. Whether we like it or not, we already have existing expectations of how the desktop computer would work. So even if we introduce nice ideas, if people won't receive them very well, it's hard to build on them. And finally, my recommendations. First of all, let's not forget the challenges. There are feasibility challenges and user experience ones. It's nice to make something revolutionary, but if it really doesn't work, we shouldn't force it. Second one, assess the application and context-centric paradigms. Do they actually make sense? In theory, they could, but we should also do some testing to make sure that they would actually work in real life. The third one is to explore ubiquitous computing. That is, integrating with other devices. Your desktop integrates with your mobile devices and even does probably augmented reality with the use of maybe projectors, sensors, RFIDs, GPS, and other technologies. And lastly, think of ways to introduce these ideas to GNOME and maybe fit them in the roadmap if they actually do make sense. So there, you have comments or suggestions? Anyone?
Question?
Also, feel free to email me. Okay.
Okay, so you're talking about trying to recognize what the program is doing, whether it's a web app or something else. Do you plan to do that with or without the collaboration from the applications themselves?
We haven't explored that yet, but that would make sense. Right now, all we have would be the tag of applications, whether an application belongs to Office or whatever. And a future challenge would be if we want really ubiquitous computing and integration with mobile devices, those applications would also need tags. So your mobile devices, for example, your phone, it has to be a social tag or maybe a special one, which means you can't be distracted while using the phone. So there's going to be a lot of upstream work, if ever.
So you're talking about asking all the developers to follow a specific tagging protocol?
We can explore that. If there's a way to not have to do that, so things will be smoother, of course, that idea is also very much welcome.
Well, I can see two difficulties there. In the first scheme where you require collaboration from all the developers, they're probably not going to do it for you, right? And the second one is if there's a way to not have to require that and you can do it in GNOME itself, trying to recognize what each program is doing, then in theoretical computer science, there's this thing called undecidability. I can prove that you cannot do that. Okay.
You mean the automatic tags?
Right.
Yep. That's why I also mentioned that the user also can tag. And the user may also have special preferences. The user may also define special contexts that only works for him. And it's really worth exploring that maybe each person may have different types of contexts. So that way, when you have an app, maybe if it's already executed, this idea, the user has a choice to tag applications so that they can be grouped in different ways, like grouped on GNOME shell, grouped on the alt-tabbing feature, the Windows switcher, or grouped by desktop, or maybe simple things like color coding the window border, just to reduce cognitive load so that the user can easily recognize what context he's working on.
Right, I would agree that letting the user help you will be the best way to go.
Yep.
Yeah. So a second question is, earlier you talked about application-centric paradigm where someone said the need to what's it called? The
Document manager.
For a document manager, that would reduce the need to access the file system. That's a little vague to me. The document manager, how is that different from, say, Apple's Finder from 30 years ago?
Sorry?
Apple's Finder started in Lisa, later on Macintosh. You click on a document instead of typing a command, right? It went the other way. Before that, computers always operate by typing the command first, then the file being processed by that command. And in that design, you put the center on the document, right? You double click on the document, it launches. The file manager is called the Finder because it finds the necessary application for you. So the document manager you're talking about there, how is it different from this 30-year-old design?
We don't have to do something different. We just have to bring things that don't exist to the GNOME desktop yet. So if it doesn't exist on the GNOME desktop yet, we may be in the need for something like Finder.
Okay, thank you.
We don't need to make innovations just for the sake of it. We're just here to make things easy.
My apologies. I didn't know it didn't exist in GNOME yet.
Anything else?
Any question asked? Okay, so thanks, Alan.
Feel free to contact me at alankaig@gmail.com.